Hello, 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 hello.
Hey, how you doing this week?
I am so good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay. You got something in your eye all of a sudden?
I do. Like, don't mind
Yeah.
me. I'm over here like
Because
dirt in my eye. Yeah.
I think people right now are looking, going, "Hey, she's not wearing glasses," and then now all of a sudden you got something in your eye.
Yeah, I'm doing my show blindly today. So don't
How
mind
bad
me.
are your eyes? How bad are your eyes?
Um okay, how bad are my eyes? I just can't see definition. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like I can see that you're there.
Yeah.
I recognize you because I know you, I guess. Um If I'm driving or whatever, like I see cars, I see lights, I see figures. I just can't like read a license plate. I can't read a stop sign.
Yeah.
It's just not safe.
Yeah. You aren't delivering
You know,
pizzas anytime soon.
no, no, I'm not a delivery person anytime soon. And no, so it's like, sure, I'm safe without them, but it's much safer with them on. And people keep saying to me, like, I get a lot of remarks about my glasses, and it's like, people, this is not a choice. This is not something I decided in my life. Like, you're going to put these big, huge frames on your face and you're going to live your life. No, this is something that's necessary. And I would appreciate you guys stop telling me to put my glasses away. I cannot.
Well, you know what's
It's
funny?
not an option.
People have
Huh?
asked me, are they real glass? I've literally had this question. Are they real glasses and is it a fashion? Because they're stylish.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so people are thinking that, hey, you know what? She's not needing glasses. She does it because it's a fashion statement. That's what I get
That's
all the time. People ask me
that's
that
so
all the time.
stupid. Okay, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. They're heavy. No, people, I need glasses. I am blind as a bat. I need the glasses. I feel much better. I'm not a candidate for
LASIK.
what are the contacts?
Okay.
And I'm not a candidate for the surgery as of yet, as of right now. So let's see how this goes.
You know what? I want the bad news where I don't even know what the hell's going on, but I mean, we all have been around older people where they tell you, "Hey, I can't drive at night." I don't even know what the hell that means, but it scares the hell out of me that it might be coming. What do you mean you can't drive at night?
Well, I'll tell you something. Oh
Yeah.
my God. I'll tell you something. So I have different kinds of glasses, right? So like I have just like my single vision, which helps me with just like my far sighted, so I can see far and just see
Yeah.
normal. It has nothing to do with the reading, right? But then I have glasses that are like progressive. So like if I look in one spot, I can see far. And then if I look down low, I can read. I have all of these like options of glasses. Well, depending on which ones I'm wearing while I'm driving, it can be tricky. Like, I don't like to wear the progressives when I'm driving, because it'll hit like the certain lights, like street lights or tail lights or car lights, any of the lights will hit the lens in a certain way. And anybody that wears glasses knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's like being in the sunlight and it
Yeah.
shoots like light into your eyeballs.
Oh no.
And you're like, wait a minute, this is fucked up. This is like the anti of what this is supposed to be doing. Like you burn your eyeballs. So yeah, glasses are hard. They're hard to work around. And at night, it's a thing. I'd
Yeah.
rather not wear glasses at night. I'm almost there.
Almost there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's
Uh-oh.
weird. It's
So
weird.
do
Yeah.
you have any since we're talking about different things that are stylish where people thought it was your glasses, do you have any new products, anything that you tried out this week?
I do. And listen, people, like these glasses are expensive. Quit putting down my glasses.
I don't think people are putting them down. They want to know if you really need them.
No. People have said to me, like, get rid of those big lenses or get rid of like those big frames. Sorry. What do you want me to do? You want me to wear a pair where I pretend like they're not there? I don't know. I'm not here to please you. I know I sometimes feel like I am, but I'm not actually living my own life. But yes. Okay, so I heard about this weird like Trader Joe's. Do you do Trader Joe's?
My wife does Trader Joe's. She's the Trader Joe's person.
It's kind of a rabbit hole, that place.
For her, it is. I always get upset when she goes because she comes back and I'm like, all right, now what are we going to eat the rest of the week? I have 4 pairs. Okay. So then I got to do it myself. But anyway, it's a whole long story. It's a long story.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I found this stuff that's called Head to Toe Balm.
Okay.
Head to
Is
toe
it
balm.
is it for dry
And
skin?
I
The
mean,
lotion?
it's supposed to be for skin. Like it's like a waxy thing. So what I found, what I like it for, and blondes, fair hair people will understand. I get it in my hands and then I rub it like this and then I go like this. And it lays down all those wiry crazies.
Oh,
And
so
then
it literally goes in your hair.
I put it in
What?
I put it in my hair. And
Okay.
then I go like this and I rub the rest into my hands and I keep driving. And so there's nothing sticky about it. And it literally lays down the flyaways
Yeah.
without being super heavy on the hair. And girls, men, whoever has the flyaways like I do, you know what I'm talking about. They're babies and like you have to like flatten them, but if you put anything too heavy, you've created a helmet. So I put it on and I'll tell you what, I am thoroughly impressed. I have not actually used it as a body balm. Like I haven't put it anywhere else. I rub the rest into my hands and that works fine. But it's pretty like dry. It's pretty dry and waxy, but love it for the hair.
Cool. So when you wash it out, it comes out no problem. Like your hair
Oh,
doesn't feel
yeah.
greasy or
Yeah,
anything.
no. Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's no, yeah.
There you go.
No, you don't even notice it's there.
Well, hell, there you go. I had to tell you, you aren't joking. It actually is. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
Well, I want to start the show out and it's kind of sad, but at the same point, you have mentioned on this show that you're familiar with this actor, and so the big news, obviously in entertainment this week, and was surprising to so many, was Matthew Perry passing away. And number one, you text me right away. I mean, you had the information before I had it, and usually my phone is set up to get those kind of alerts, but you had it, sooner than that. When you found out someone that you knew I mean, obviously a young person, who who tells you what goes through your mind? What's the first thing you think of? Because he made some interesting statements, I thought, about how he wanted to be remembered.
Well, I mean, it's just like the wind is knocked out of you, right? Like I think that's the first thing is like I just devastating. I like I had friends that dated him. I was around him. He was always a good guy. And he battled. Like if you read his book, which I highly recommend anybody to read it. It's there's a lot of truth. He is super honest in the book and um it's amazing. He was a great writer. So go do yourself a favor and read his book. I feel like it's just these things of like, wow. Like, wow. Like we had Andre Gower on last week. And if you remember, he had the heart attack.
Yep.
My friend Sean had a heart attack. I've had a number of friends at this age where they have these heart attacks. And you're like, it's just this is where this is where we're at. This is where we are. This is the age we are at. All of the things we've done in our past are coming back to bite us. I don't know, because I read a lot of people saying things about like his addiction had something to do with it, and part of me feels like that's not really fair. I don't really know that we don't know that that's true.
No.
No, because men his age have heart attacks that were never substance abusers. So
Yes.
we don't know that that's a fact. Like, so I don't like that. I don't like all the presumptions and like, the what ifs and, oh, poor him. And now he's in a better place. I'm not sure I like agree with all of that. This is something unfortunate that happened to somebody. It's just very real. And at his age, this is like, I don't know. This is something that happens, right? And I was very saddened. I was just very saddened by it because I felt like he had so much more life to give.
Yeah.
I felt like he had so much more to offer us. Yeah.
It seemed like he was, as he was getting older, and you heard so many good things about him, about, people would come to him and say, I need help. And not only would he say, I'm going to help you, I'm going to hold your hand through the process. That as he was getting older, almost like he figured life out, like his best years were ahead of him, meaning as far as the good he was doing with other people. what I think a lot of people who never met him, and the reason I brought his name up, number one, it's newsworthy, but most importantly is on this show, you have mentioned that you've known him. Other people have come on as guests that knew him. And the one thing that always stands out to me about him is someone who never met him and just watched, what I know from TV and movies is everyone has said how smart he was.
Yeah.
And I think that surprises a lot of people. And I think actors get a bad rap on this, Nicole, and maybe you just never thought of it because you've always been part of your life. But, the story is, you go to the studio, you have to go to school, offset, your own tutor, you aren't going to real school. You don't know the struggles of what it's really like being a student in everyday life, and you're getting a paycheck and people admire you. So people always think it's an easy life. Well, I've watched these shows in person, and I've watched different scenes of movies that I've seen as a fan, and I've been to your show, and I've been to Married with Children, a bunch of other shows, and I'm amazed on how you do your job. And I've watched them change the script on a dime, and you guys don't miss a beat. And I'm always leave and I ask them, man, these people are pretty bright. These aren't dumb people that they just stick in front of a camera because they look good in their clothes. These people are pretty smart. So when people say he was smart, and not only was he was smarter than the average actor, meaning writers would pull him in to say, help us fix this script on a dime, and he would do it and then go back out and people followed his lead. It says a lot about him, about he wasn't just a dumb actor.
Okay. Yeah. Dumb actor. Let's take that out of our vocabulary.
Yeah. Because I think a lot of people say they think, well, someone else wrote it. All you have to do is remember it. And it doesn't exactly work that way. When you see it in person, you see what it is.
Well, that's right. Listen, he was a great writer. I mean, what a fantastic writer and such a talent. And yes, he gave so much to that show, to any project he was a part of. But that's what it is. And that's why, you have that 0.001% of people that succeed, because it's in their blood. It's what they do. It's who they are. It's just what he's made of. And I mean, yeah, he had like that comedic genius timing. That was it. Like, you're born with it or you're not. And he just was. And yeah, you can't take that away from him ever. Like, yeah. So talented.
I've said this to you before too, is that when you do a TV show, whether it's a show, you've been in a few shows you've been in that I think are iconic or part of people's memories, but Friends was such a big deal. You go back and not only was it a big deal for my age, your age, where it was a can't miss TV deal, but during the pandemic, all of a sudden younger people discovered it and they're watching it, and it's a show that has stood the test of time. And so yeah, he says he doesn't want to be remembered for Friends. It's just part of his life. At the same time, when you do what you do, I would say you're an artist. An artist live forever.
Well, he'll be happy to hear I never watched Friends. I've said this before.
No way. Not at all.
I think I've seen 1 or 2 episodes, maybe max.
And you were mentioned in it.
I was. But I knew Matthew very well. And so I knew him. I already give him all the credibility. Like, he already won in my book, besides, the show. Because I never actually saw the show. I wasn't watching Friends. I think my younger sister was. I think it was a generation thing. I don't know. Were you watching it? You were watching Friends?
Yes, 100%. Well, I was doing, here's the interesting thing about Friends is, I did talk radio for years, and Friends was an automatic discussion in radio, whether it was FM or AM radio. People spoke about it. People would play the theme song and they'd try and clap along, and they talked about it. They talked about it the day of the show, that it was, what are we going to see tonight, and talk about it the next day on Friday. It took up a lot of time. So for a 4-hour morning show, it took up time, and it was content that made the people's jobs easier, but people could relate. People driving to work were like, I watched that show too, and then there's stories to be told. So in the radio business, it was a big deal. Friends was a big deal. I'd say Friends and Sopranos were probably the 2 biggest shows that were spoken about on the radio.
Yeah, no, Friends was a big deal. I'm not taking that away from it. I just didn't watch. Like, once again, the odd man out. I wasn't watching. But you know what I did watch? Okay, so I don't know. I think everybody kind of knows. I've always been a huge fan of Pablo Escobar. Like, weird crush, weird,
Really?
silently obsessed. Oh yeah, Pablo Escobar is like that's my guy. I love him. I love him to death. I watched that Get Gotti documentary
Yes.
this weekend,
Yes.
this past couple days. Oh my god! So now my new obsession is John Gotti. I always go for the dead guys.
Or the bad guys. Yeah.
Well, both. Well, but they're dead, so it's like never. It's not possible.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god, so I'm obsessed. And I remember when John Gotti went through his trial and when he was like sentenced. And I remember being alive at that time and seeing it all over the news and just not thinking much about it because I was so young and like I wasn't looking at him like that. Now I'm like, oh my hottest guy.
You're insane.
Hottest guy ever. Watch Get Gotti if you haven't. It is I highly recommend it. It's so good. So good. Have you seen it?
Oh, I have. I would never guess you were a mafia type person.
Oh my god. Yeah.
See, I love mafia films. I just would never have guessed. No idea.
I was really tight with a wise guy for a long time.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Did it make you
Yes.
nervous at all, or you thought it was cool? Exciting, I should say.
I wasn't nervous because I knew like I was protected. I was fine. Like everybody around there. And I wasn't out in like it wasn't like a public thing. We were always usually pretty private. No, I loved hearing the stories. I loved meeting the families. No, we had such a good time. Oh,
There you go. That is
like
that is
stuff.
something about Nicole that people don't know. That was
Yep.
interesting right there. Wow.
Mhm. Yeah.
Do you find yourself after you're done watching that you just start doing crazy research on John Gotti? Like, I need to know more.
No, I felt like this documentary, the Get Gotti, like gave me enough. Like because I remembered it all. I was like, oh, it was all coming
Yeah.
back to me. I was like, I remember this. I remember that. And I never looked at him like that. I always looked at him like, oh, it was like this. It was like before reality stars were a thing,
Yeah.
right? So he was grabbing the spotlight in this weird way that was kind of like, huh, to all of us, and we didn't really know how to like digest it. And so that's where I placed him on that shelf. And now I'm looking back, I'm like, that guy is hot. This guy was like,
That is so funny.
I'm
That
sick.
is
I'm
funny.
sick in the head. I'm sick in the head. What do you want from me? This is why I stay single, because these are the guys that I find fascinating. And I'll watch these stories and I will look at the police as the bad guys. Like I am that person.
Really?
So bad. Yeah, it's so bad. And I have to remind myself, no, Nicole. No, Nicole, those are the good guys. And I'm just never rooting for them. I'm sorry.
Oh, that is funny. That's a funny
Yeah.
way to look at it. All right. So speaking of things that could be a little bit scary, this was Halloween week. I haven't spoken to you since Halloween. We're now in November. And so did you go out? Did you take your daughter out? Did you celebrate? What did you do?
Yes, of course. This was kind of like the first year that I backed off a little bit though. So I was a little bit like, I don't know, I was like half sad, half like, phew, I get a night off. But I kind of miss it. So I'm like, well, no, there's not trick-or-treaters that come into our neighborhood. It's a little bit high up in the hill. So they don't come up here, but it's like I kind of miss that. I miss it. Keegan definitely got her trick-or-treat on. We live very close to a neighborhood, and her friend is dead center living in a neighborhood where people drive all over to be there. So I mean, in our backyard is like the biggest, it's all industry people. They put on big shows in their front yards. It's just like, it's a huge production. It's amazing. She's spoiled. We live this privileged life. Like, I don't know. My kid's privileged beyond years. I don't even know what to say. Yes. They had an amazing Halloween. You know what though? Have you watched Winter House?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No. Explain
So it picks up where remember when Tom Sandoval and the Tom Schwartz and that whole like Scandoval thing happened?
Yeah.
So it's like directly after that, before it hits the press, and it's a show that Bravo shoots with all these young 20-somethings, and they bring Tom Schwartz in.
Okay.
And I'm watching him and I'm like, who is he? Like, who is he? He's so weird. And I was like, I know what it is. He is low rent Crispin Glover.
Oh, wow. Wow.
I mean, does anybody agree with me? Am I the only one here?
That's a good call.
He is low rent Crispin Glover, like just Crispin Glover minus the really cool factor. And I was like, that's who he is. And that's why people like him. Because I couldn't understand, like, why does Tom Sandoval or Tom Schwartz, excuse me, why does Tom Schwartz still have a following? Why are people still supporting him? Like, he's a good guy. Sure. He's not good enough of a guy to like, back all the way. Like, I don't know. Take him or leave him. But I think for me at least, it's because he reminds me of Crispin Glover.
Oh, that's interesting. I gotta think about that. That's interesting. It's funny, you brought up a name that I think a lot of people was surprised. Like, there are people that sabotage their own career, and he seemed to sabotage his career. So have you ever seen anything like it where you go, there's a person that's extremely talented that couldn't get out of their own way? One, two, you look at a guy like him and you go, do you feel comfortable around him going, he's a loose cannon?
Well, he's not a loose cannon because he keeps secrets way too well. I think that's what he's proven, is that he's a jerk like that. Like, he'll keep a lie going. And for the rest of us, we're all like our own worst enemies, right?
Always.
We all stand
Always.
in our own way.
Yes.
Like, so this is a life thing. Of course. Yeah. Everybody stands in their own way. But Tom Schwartz, I feel like he's like the cat with 9 lives, 12 lives at this point. Like, I don't know. And then Real Housewives of New York, the second reunion, like,
what did you think?
it could have run right into the first one. I could care less.
That's again, we've spoken about it and said it was a disappointing season. Someone said to me that's a huge fan of the shows, and because I asked, what is your observation on it? Because I felt like it was a waste of time. I felt like the whole season was a waste of time. I thought the cast was bad. I know I'm in the minority on this. For me, though, who've watched all of these shows and I fall into all of them, I got to the point I hated almost every character on the show. Only a few of them that I enjoyed. So when I'm watching the reunion, someone said to me, said, you know what? I felt like in the end, they all had each other's backs. They felt like there was a connection with them, maybe because they had to replace the first cast that had a following, and they felt like we're going in this as a team and going at it. And I said, I didn't think about it that way. They thought it was different, though. They enjoyed it because they said it was different. Like, they knew the show, they knew the history of the show. It wasn't like, hey, you're doing a show that no one is familiar with. You're doing a show that is very popular, and all these women already have a tremendous following. You're about to have a following.
I don't know. I feel like they were like chickens with their heads cut off, and then at the reunion, they were like, we better pull this together if we want a second season.
That's how I felt. That's how I felt.
I mean, I don't look any deeper into it. I was like, they need to like pull it together. Otherwise, they're not getting a second season, and they know it. And that's what they did for their own, for their own paths.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, so the one that's obviously doing well, and New York will always do well because it's New York, and ratings will be tremendous. There's so many people. But we've spoken about Salt Lake City and the ratings and how it's surprising a lot of people. I can tell you, I watched the last episode, and when Mary called her a bobblehead to her face, yeah, and then said, I'm taking my food and I'm not going to talk to you. I laughed. I laughed out loud, and I had to rewind it and laugh again. But we've spoken about, what the hell is Mary even doing on the show?
I mean, I think Mary went there for the free lunch.
Yeah, I think so too.
I mean, she really went there for the cocktail and the free lunch. And then the other thing to that show is they keep going like really left field with that Monica and Monica's mother, and their like their twisted relationship. And I don't like that. I don't like that because to me, that's icky. This isn't like mom and daughters of housewives. Like, this is supposed to be like pretty like surface level stuff. Now you're talking about like, your bad relationship with your mom. And I just don't know. They should work that stuff out before they get on the show and start filming that. I don't know. I don't know how you feel about it, but I was really uncomfortable. I felt really like awkward. And I was like, I really don't even know either of these people. Why do I know so much about their bad relationship? And I don't even know these people. Like,
all I know is there was gold in that episode where those two were together and they serve the food at the table, and she goes, check out that dessert. That's not dessert, Mom. That's guacamole.
guacamole.
That was fucking hilarious. I will every time guacamole is brought to my table, I will drop that line the rest of my life.
Look at that.
Check out that dessert.
That's funny that you say that, because at that point I started questioning the mom's like sobriety.
Me too. Something was off.
Right? Like I felt like, oh, and is her daughter and just not saying it? Because I don't know. She was like searching for the aspirin. Like,
yeah.
What was,
it was
the
crazy.
searching for the aspirin to calling avocado like a dessert to like
she was all over the place.
Yeah, really like scattered and strange. And again, we don't know these people. I don't know these people. I don't want to be in their dark corners right now. I don't know them. So yeah, all of it was like uncomfortable. And so for the first time, Salt Lake took a weird turn for me. I just was like, no, I don't like this episode.
How about the part where her son found out where he was going on his mission, and it was Colombia. And then she says he's going to be held up at gunpoint at least once a week, but it's going to be fine.
Laughed.
She laughed. It was so bizarre.
So bizarre. And even more bizarre is that I'm like, you didn't do your research into finding out what countries they're like sending most of their recruits to. There's a trend. She was like, I thought it would be New York or Europe. What are you talking about? What fudge are you talking about? New York or Europe? Nobody in New York or Europe cares about Latter-day Saints. He's going to Colombia. And she just was like, it was like as if it was cute that he was going to be held up by gunpoint.
It's really bizarre. No parent would think that way. No parent. That didn't make any sense at all.
Well, also what doesn't make any sense at all is that he chose to go and not tell his parents. Like, I mean, there's already like a breakdown in communication.
Good point. Everyone in the room knew
before this, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you imagine my kids like, I'm not going to see you for the next 2 years, but don't worry. Don't worry. So everything's going to be fine.
So speaking about TV shows, one of the things that's written in all the time is people want to know what's the progress on your Baywatch show. And they know you've been working on this. You've been putting a lot of time into it. People want to know, when can they see it? Like how soon, how far out are we? What's your feeling? Or what do you feel like divulging?
Well, what I will tell everybody is that it's such a passion project. It really is. And we really just want it to be right and look right. And all the strikes have really put a wrench in the selling process, which has been fine because it's given us a moment we've been shooting for 4 years, since 2019. We've been shooting for 4 years, and when the director and the editor look at everything and put it all together, there's things that are missing. So like, say tomorrow, we'll go shoot some stuff tomorrow and like fill in a little section. We're able to do that because of the strikes, and we have this little bit of extra time. So it's a blessing. But right before we were ready to shop it out, a huge player is very interested in the IP. Fantastic. And really is ready to make an offer. And listen, we'll see. Everything ends up where it's supposed to be, and I think this is a project that's destined for great things. Just because it's so organic and it's just so fresh and it's so fun. And I think that everybody has to have patience, because this is not a like True Hollywood Stories. This is not a, an expose piece. This is not any of those things. This is like a true story, a heartfelt story about cast and crew and all of it. So it takes time. These things take time. And I've learned a new appreciation for documentary making, because I didn't know. I really was unaware of like how involved and how tedious, and it changes directions and changes the budget. It changes everything. It's just very bizarre. It's very different than filmmaking, where you have a budget, you have a certain amount of days, and you have a script,
Yeah.
and you stick to those things. This is something that's like this wild card. So it's been very fun, very frustrating, all of it, all wrapped up into one pile of loveliness. And I think that everybody's gonna really think it was worth the wait. So
Cool.
yeah,
Well, I know
it'll
people
be here
obviously
soon.
people are talking about it. They're excited about it. So, and I know you've put a ton of time into it.
Yes.
All right. Let's get to today's mailbag. Nicole's mailbag. Again, if you want to ask a question to Nicole, all you have to do is go to the website, perfectlytwistedpod.com. You can ask the question right there at the top. This first one's from Tom Cara. It says, "Hi, Nicole. Is it true that you were considered to replace Shannon Doherty on Charmed? The part eventually went to Rose McGowan. Also, what other noticeable parts were you in for the running for, but you turned down?" That's always an interesting question, but a lot of times actors won't answer it.
Okay, no, I was not in the running for Charmed.
Okay.
That's not a true statement whatsoever.
Have you heard that rumor before?
No, I've never
No.
heard that before. That was news
Now
to
you
me.
have.
Yeah, fine. No, I love Rose McGowan. Like Rose McGowan is like, she's so cool. No. And then, okay, so people ask me all the time, like, what parts did you try out for you didn't get? Da, da, da. I was thinking a big one that like kind of bothered me was Heather's.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
I
a
went
good
really
fit.
far on that one. So that was kind of a Shannon Doherty. Because I think she was up for it too. But no, and I think we touched base on this last week with Andre and Ryan. It's sort of like there were so many auditions back then that when you didn't get one, it was like, yeah, it was like, darn it, but there was going to be another one. But
Yeah.
things like Heather's, I was upset. Like it bummed me out. Like if you want to know like what really truly like bummed me out to not get Heather's, Boogie Nights, American History X. These are all ones like I was down to the wire testing. We were there. There were deals in place. I didn't get it.
When let me ask you, Boogie Nights, because I'm a huge fan of the movie. Did you have to roller skate? Did they ask you, "Hey, can you roller skate?" Was that one of the questions?
It's funny because I think about it and I'm like, did I wear roller skates into the room? Because I might have. Like, I'm that kind of person, but I don't think I did. No, I don't think they cared. They
Okay.
were gonna work that out. But anyways, Heather was great in it, and I couldn't imagine anybody else being Roller Girl. So, everything works out for a reason. Just like in
Yeah.
American History X, Fairuza Balk was definitely the girlfriend. And looking back, I mean, I'm glad I didn't say some of those lines.
No kidding. Good point.
I
Yeah.
mean, now that we're looking back and
Yeah.
everything's coming to surface, it's like, thank God those words didn't come out of my mouth. But I really wanted that project. That was a great movie. Yeah. So those are the ones. I think those are the three that like sting.
Yeah. I got you. All right, next question. What is the one person do you feel is most responsible for being the person that you are?
Myself?
You're
Myself.
self-made. You don't think it's your
Ah.
mom, your dad, a friend, but it's you.
No,
You
I think
turned
it's
out how you
me.
are
I think
because
it's
of
my
life
kids.
experiences.
I think it's my kids giving me something to live for outside of myself. Like teaching me like why you speak up and why you like take charge and speak up for yourself. They gave me that. So it wasn't about me anymore. It was about them. So I was able to be a leader. And I figured that out on my own. No, like with all due respect to my parents, I definitely had to do a when they say like you're changing the cycle and you have to change everything that you were taught and you're not going to repeat history, like that's my story.
Yeah. There you go. All right, next question. Nicole, would you rather ask for help or figure it out yourself?
always figure it out myself.
I knew you're gonna say that.
Always. It's my downfall. I need to learn to start
Me
asking
too.
people for help. I do. I need to
I do the
learn
same
that.
thing.
You too?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Even
Well,
if
but you're a
simple
man
stuff
with
of
a
walking
family.
into a store, simple stuff walking into a store, I'll find it. Like I don't need to ask. I can walk by a million people that work there, and it's my goal to find it. Like why? Why would I waste the time?
Oh, if you're talking about simple stuff like that,
Just no,
I'll
I'm
ask.
saying I'm saying as simple as that. You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah.
like that's so basic of saying, hey, where's the screwdrivers, whatever, depending what store I'm in. It's for some reason I'm going to walk around this giant warehouse. Why? I just passed 5 people in a
Yeah.
vest, but then I'm like, why did I just waste 20 minutes? I just had to ask somebody.
Oh, no, I'm pretty good about, like, if I walk into a place, if I see somebody that works there, I'm definitely yelling out, "Where are the screwdrivers?" Like, as I'm walking. No, but I mean, I thought you meant, like, in life, like, figuring things out and, like, the inner workings of, like, real life. No, I always, like, take that on by myself.
I do too.
Yeah. Yep.
You respect your own opinion over anyone else's. I got you.
Well, it's not that. It's not even that. I just I feel like I'm the only one. Like, if you don't take care of things, like, who else is going to do it? Like, if you don't come up with the solutions, who else is going to do it for you? I didn't grow up with like huge family around me and, super supportive parents. And I never had grandparents. I don't have aunts and uncles that are like, I don't have like cousins. Like, people have all this family around them. And I'm just sitting
Yeah.
there like, I don't know what that is. I never had any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
All right.
So
Yeah, no, I
I was never
understand exactly what you're saying.
married. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
never married, so there was never like a partnership and like, how do we do this? This has always just been me going, okay, let's figure this out. You know, let's how's it working this month? Yeah. No, I just I figure it out on my own.
2 more questions for you. Are you an early bird or night owl?
Both,
I am too.
oddly. Are you?
It's
Yeah.
not. Yeah. People tell me all the time you're going to kill yourself. Like you can't be both, but I am both.
Well, I feel like it has to balance itself out. I don't know how you feel, but like some nights I'll stay up a little bit later and then I'm going to need to sleep in. And I say sleep in, I mean like sleep till 6:30. Um like
I'll go
for a
crazy.
couple days. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I like to stay up at night. I like nighttime, but for my reality in my life, it makes more sense for me to be a morning bird. So that's what I do. But I prefer being a night owl, if that makes any
I,
sense.
that's funny. If I had to pick one, I think I'd prefer to be the early bird. Like I like to start the day before anybody else. I like to get a head start when I think no one's up at this time, and this is where I can gain a couple hours on other people. But
Oh,
I end up doing both. I stay up late. I stay up way too late. I don't sleep enough. Last question. Would you like to? Who would you like? This is a good one. Who do you like to play you in a movie about your life?
okay. Well, we've done this question. We've had this
Okay.
question. I said Margot Robbie.
Yes.
But now I'm thinking
Oh
my
wow.
little one,
Change.
My Keegan should play me. Nobody knows me better. Nobody looks more like me. I posted a picture of her and I at Halloween, and everyone's like, "Your twin. She's your twin." And I'm looking at her and I'm thinking,
You know
poor
what?
kid. Like the poor kid
No, you're
is
crazy.
a carbon
No,
copy. She's a carbon copy.
she is. You know what's funny?
Yeah,
Yesterday was the first time I noticed it. And
yeah,
I've seen you post pictures for years, but yesterday was the first time I noticed it. And I said, "Oh my God, dude, that's
yeah,
her as a kid. That's
yeah.
crazy."
But she's got a little bit up on me. She's prettier than I was, and she's a little bit more like exotic than I was. Like she's definitely cooler than I was. So she's me, what they call like 2.0. She's Nicole
Yeah.
2.0. So I guess she would play me.
I used to say that about my youngest son is that he's me squared, meaning he's ahead of me. Like in 15 years, I'm going to be that guy. I'm going to be as smart as he is. I'm going to be as fast as he is, as far as the way his brain worked. And I was just always amazed how fast his brain used to work. His mouth used to work of cracking jokes and everything. But yeah, that's crazy. When you posted that picture, I saw exactly what you're saying. That was kind
Yeah.
of wild to see. Yeah.
Yeah. We're pretty identical, which is funny because obviously my older daughter, I look at her and I am in awe of her at all times. She's also way cooler than me and way better style. She's got everything going on. But her and I are very different. We get along very well. We mesh. We're very yin and yang together. But we're very different. Whereas the little one, I mean, I think we're carbon copies of each other. It's wild. Yeah.
That is funny. That is funny. All right.
Wild.
So that's all the questions. Again, if you want to ask Nicole a question, all you have to do is go to perfectlytwistedpod.com, look at the mailbag, and we'll be happy to read them on there. And I thought it's funny.
And last week, wait, I just have to say
Yeah.
something. Last week,
Go ahead.
Suzanne asked about my last month, if I had 30 days to live.
Yes.
And I got to tell you, Suzanne, this thing sat with me. This did not just like end with the show. You have been in my head and in my thoughts for the entire week. I would take them to Asia. I changed my answer. Me and the girls, we would go to Asia, and we would start it there and end it there. And yes, that's where we would
Interesting.
be. So thanks again, Suzanne, because you made me think not only for that episode, you made me think the entire week. And
good.
Depressing
That was a great question.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. But it really had me like going. So it changed my answer to Asia.
There you go. All right, so we're going to be back next week, and we'll wrap this one up. But that was interesting as far as sad news, of course, that we had to touch on today. But I'm glad that you were up to it to do it. And sorry to ask the question or bring up the topic, but I think this week, especially in entertainment, Matthew Perry has definitely been the biggest story going.
Yeah. What an angel and what a talent. And we're so thankful for the gifts that he gave us. And, let it be a lesson in all ways, right?
Yeah.
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 Right.
So that's it. Well, please subscribe to us. Please check in with us next week. And we look forward to speaking to you and talking to you, and give us your questions. We love these questions. I know.
Absolutely.
I might make it sound a little scary because you really get to me, but I like it. I like it.
Good.
So
Good.
please keep them coming.
All right. We'll see you next week, Nicole.
Bye, guys.